You're watching the Batter Fans Network.
The heroes are back. Beards talking balls, rapping pink and black. Coming live from the 305, it's official tissue. The Batter Fan, Chris and Dan, weekly rocking with you. We talk Messi, Boosie, Jordy, Lucho, the Fat Four, to Ben Cram, Noah, Ruiz, Fred. What more could you ask for? Tighten up and get ready, listen in on the pod. Solana and X in Espanol, just to even the odds. Breakdowns and gas bagging, join the tribe and just vibe. Free 99, don't forget to like and subscribe. Don't hesitate, say what's up, go ahead and come in. No question about it, I'm ready to get hurt again.
No question about it, I am ready to get hurt again.
Solana, the Herons are back. Welcome, everybody, to another episode of the Batter Herons podcast. I am your host, Chris Duran, and alongside me, as most of the time, sometimes, we have Daniel Solana. What is going on, Solana?
Not much, man. It's been you and me on a few shows these last couple weeks. It's been nice. It's been a little bit of breath of fresh air here.
Yeah, listen, I was able to catch your episode. For those of you who haven't, catch the episode of the Cafecito with the Herons. Danny and Danny did that episode yesterday, and it was really good. So shout out to you guys for pulling in that early morning shift. Where's Danny Stanzi? He's taking the day off today because I will be taking the day off tomorrow because it's going to be my son's birthday. And we're going to be watching Leo versus Leo. So that's going to be fun times. That's why I had to rock the Leo Campana shirt, the Vice City Leo Campana shirt. But yeah, man, this is episode 387 here with us, and we're going to talk a little bit about Inter Miami versus the New England Revolution. But I wanted to get to something here real quick, because here's Blake Keitlinger saying, I heard DePaul traveled to New England. I don't know about all that.
I don't know about that either. I mean,
New England.
I mean, the news just came out a couple days ago, and it's just heating up today. I highly doubt Rodrigo De Paul is in Massachusetts for the game tomorrow. Yeah, let's focus on who is here and not who might be there, right?
Yeah, no, for sure. Listen, I mean, people are still questioning whether Messi's going to go to New England himself. I mean, you know, there's the whole turfy turf thing going on. You know, people are thinking that he's not going to play on turf. He's already played on turf. He's already proven that theory wrong on all ends. Now, before we go ahead and bring on our guests, because we do have a guest to cover the game, I want to talk a little bit about what you think is going to be the starting 11, because I did see some posts that we're having David Ruiz and Yannick Bright back sort of in practice. So we might see some fresh faces. What do you think is going to be the starting 11, Solana? I mean, I think here is the last starting 11. So do you see any changes here?
Look, I mean, the truth is, I personally, Solana, would love to see a bunch of changes in that lineup. Obviously, with Falcón getting a lot of minutes, Wigant getting a lot of minutes, Busquets getting a lot of minutes. I would love to see some of these guys get a rest. Messi and Suarez get a rest, seeing Obando in the game, maybe seeing Fafa from the start. I would love to see that a change in the lineup to start the game. But Mascherano has been sticking to his guns, and the team is coming off of a fantastic win. So it's kind of hard to see Mascherano move the pieces, especially knowing that we still have some, folks injured like Noah Allen, and Ian Frey are still injured. We saw Gonzalo Lujan was back training today, like you said. David Ruiz is getting close to coming back, and also Yannick Bright. But I think it'll be too early to see any of those three players in tomorrow's game. I think they'll have to give them a few more practices, because you don't want to just get a guy to come practice once or twice before you get them into the game. You want to see a full week of practice and make sure that they're ready, to get into game speed.
Well, I mean, I do think, and sorry if I'm cutting in and out, my Wi-Fi is becoming a disaster. I do want to see some heavy rotation here. I do think that Obando needs to get some minutes. I mean, we need him to produce, and Suarez has been sort of on the decline, and I feel like a little bit of friendly competition doesn't hurt. I would like to see the same sort of mid deal going on over here. I do like Segovia and the way that he's been performing. Allende has also been performing pretty well. I mean, Busquets and Kremaki so far have been working. Maybe if you want to put Redondo in place of Kremaki just to have it a little bit more, I guess, compact, that area. But for the most part, I don't think that the back line here is going to change much of anything. I mean, I don't know if any of you guys in the chat think, let's see, if you guys think, let's see, Adar says Chris Obanda is on the injured list. What? He's on the injured list?
There you go.
Did you hear anything, Solana, about him being on the injured list?
I mean, I know he got hurt about a month ago, and he was out of the lineup for a game or two. But he's been on the game day roster. He was on the bench for the Club World Cup. So I'm not sure where folks are getting this news from.
Yeah, that's a little. I mean, I haven't seen anything. And our mistake, guys, for having CF Montreal here. That's going to be gone. We're going to remove that in a second. But for the most part, we're going to go ahead and we'll bring on our guest in just a couple seconds here. We do, like I told you guys, we do have a guest every time that we preview any team. Typically, we try to get people that cover the team or at least do some sort of content for the team. And luckily for this episode, we do have none other than Sam Minton of the Blazing Musket. I mean, that name, I love the name of that podcast. I love that. How's it going, Sam?
Doing good, guys. Really appreciate you having me on. We actually used to, the website used to formerly be called the Bent Musket, but we are now the Blazing Musket, as pretty much New England and Massachusetts as you can get. But really excited to talk about this matchup and, have Inter Miami and Lionel Messi and friends come to Gillette Stadium.
Look, and before we get into the game, Chris, let me go ahead and get some interesting Massachusetts facts off my chest, because I was doing some really deep research into Massachusetts, and we need to let the listeners know that Massachusetts is home to is a state with the most Dunkin' Donuts than any other state in the United States. I didn't know if any of you knew that, but I thought that was extremely interesting. The other thing that I found that was really interesting was apparently Massachusetts has a law that bans snoring unless all bedroom windows are closed. Now, I don't know how true that is, but I did a lot of research on it, and it came up on a few websites. I need Sam to confirm this is true, if there is a law that bans snoring unless all bedroom windows are closed, because that's absolutely nuts to me.
I mean, people do not follow this rule if that is the case.
I'm on
so
it.
That is indeed news to me. I can confirm the Dunkins. I mean, there's so many Dunkins here. You'll have a Dunkin' Donuts open up across the street from a Dunkin' Donuts. There's a Dunkin' Donuts at Gillette Stadium. There used to be in the old Gillette Stadium. There were literally Dunkin' Donuts like inside of the stadium, as well as a McDonald's. It was amazing. But yes, I am quite bewildered by the snoring thing. I think I've broken many a law at that time.
Make sure you have your bedroom windows closed.
Yeah, I mean, Daniel Granada is saying he loves the research, Solana. Listen, I'm confirming I do see something here. It's not a law, but there is something in place. And it also says that there is a limitation on the number of sandwiches that you can have at a wake.
Wow. I mean, we're getting deep now at Battered Herons. I mean, now not only do we give you soccer analysis, game analysis, but we're giving you extreme facts for you guys to use at some networking events and other different type of events right here when you get together with some folks from Massachusetts. So, I mean, we can't get any better, Danny. Chris, we can't get any better.
No, absolutely not. I mean, we should just squeeze in like a couple facts every single sort of topic that we go through. And Sam, and just if anybody is wondering, if you guys want to catch some of their content and stuff off their website, articles and such, you can be able to catch it right there, the Blazing Musket. It's really good stuff there, guys. So check that out. Now, as far as like how things have been going in New England, in the beginning, when I was watching, you guys were kind of a dumpster fire. what has changed over the last 10 games, I guess?
Well, here's the thing, definitely were a dumpster fire. The team absolutely could not score. Leo Campana was dealing with injuries, the likes of Thomas Shankalai, coming back from a very serious injury. So it was a mix of injuries and just a complete lack of scoring. Then all of a sudden came this formation change, Caleb Porter kind of switching, you can classify it 5-3-2, 3-4-2-1, however you want to classify it. But essentially, you have the three center backs, most of the time, Tanner Beeson, Mamadou Fofana, and Brian Ceballos. And then it essentially just allows Carlos Gil to do what he does best and gets also to the wing backs a bit higher up the field. But essentially, if you look actually back at the last 10 games, all competitions, the team's only gotten, I believe, either one win or one draw, and the rest
just
have
one win.
Been, yes, thank you very much, Solana. But so they're back to being a dumpster fire, and it's almost the complete opposite end because the back line has just really been underperforming. Fofana, he's dealt with some personal issues. His father passed away, and kind of since that hasn't really been the same player. And just overall too, you're just seeing some cracks in the formation in the back. So if you're an Inter Miami squad, even, if you had the ability and chose to rotate, you're coming to New England at a very opportune time. And if New England's going to walk away with 3 points, it's going to take a bit of luck and, a real change of form.
Yeah, it looks, what looks to be the problem, looking at New England's schedule and everything, you guys are ranked in the top 4 in the Eastern Conference in goals against. So it looks like the defense is somewhat doing their job. The big issue is, it looks like, your team is not scoring goals. And I'm not surprised because, like Chris had mentioned at the top of the show, like you mentioned, your starter at the number 9 is Leo Campana. And he unfortunately hasn't shown that he can be that type of striker where he can lead a team to the playoffs or he can lead a team and score 10, 15 goals a season and get those kind of goal contributions. So to me, it looks like the biggest issue that New England is having is with their forwards because, you all are just not scoring. Now, is that going to be an issue for Inter Miami tomorrow? Or are you guys going to play a low block and force Inter Miami to defend a counterattack where, you have Carlos Gil going nuts and you guys are going to defend us in the back like everybody else has done? Or can we expect more of an open game where you'll allow Inter Miami to dominate the ball and look for spaces and then, hopefully get out on the counter?
Yeah, it's going to be really interesting just based on the fact, at home, New England has actually struggled. They've been a much better team on the road. And, Caleb Porter's kind of talked recently in press conferences about maybe not being as focused as just playing, exciting soccer and really be focused on playing results. Now, obviously, especially with the likes of Inter Miami coming in town, kind of springs to mind potentially playing some park the bus and try and get on the counter. But I think a lot of fans would probably be a bit disappointed in that. I think really what it comes down to is New England as a team has really on the attack been focused, on, playing in crosses, being able to have, your typical number 9, an aerial threat you can get to the ball to in the box. Ever since the departure of Adam Buxa and Gustavo Bou, they really haven't been able to have those kind of true number 9s are just a real good dynamic pairing. You have Leo Campana, he's starting to really find his form, then ended up getting hurt. Thomas Shankalai seemed to be finding his form, has gotten hurt again. And then besides that, you again have Ignacio Scanago, not really proven in MLS. He went almost, he went, 2 years without scoring a goal until he came to New England. He's currently hurt. And then you have guys like Maxi Urruti and Luca Langoni. Luca Langoni was, looked at to be kind of the next big thing. He's the club record transfer to signing. And, he's been kind of a victim of this formation change, was kind of on the bench, but was able to score a goal in the last game. It kind of seems to be on the rise and, potentially could pair well with someone like Leo Campana, who, Leo can kind of be that typical number 9. Luca Langoni more kind of a winger, but just use that speed to kind of get in behind opponents. So I think it's really going to be crucial that New England doesn't just send crosses into the box like they're used to. They're going to have to attempt to break down this Miami back line and kind of find spaces, which will definitely be tough for them. But hopefully we get an exciting game. But I'm very curious to see if Caleb Porter decides to play a more conservative game, considering the talent he's up against.
Well, and I have a question about that because I kind of want to take a peek at the tactics that you guys use. But Mr. Krabs is asking a question: is that a USL team jersey you're wearing, Sam?
Yes, I'm wearing the jersey, not a jersey, training jersey of the biggest club in the world, Vermont Green. If you haven't heard of them, go check them out. But yes, great club, great jersey. So definitely want to support them.
I don't know about biggest club in the world, but it definitely is a nice jersey.
Hey,
listen,
man,
where else? Confidence.
Yeah, man. Where else can you get like Sam Ewis coaching a women's game? You got Alana Mar just showing up. Nico Contour was at their last game. Somehow there's celebrities in Burlington, Vermont, which I was completely unaware of.
Oh, I gotta get up there then.
Vermont looks beautiful from what I see in like the Google images.
Oh, beautiful. Definitely. If you're ever up in New England, gotta check it out.
I mean, if there's celebrities, we got to make our way up there, Chris. There can't be celebrities and the Battered Herons aren't up there.
No, absolutely. We have to make it's a beeline straight to Vermont. So, I mean, in terms of tactics, you talked a little bit about working it in from the outside, and Campana was, in terms of like a striker, he was a good source for a heading number 9, right? What kind of formation are you guys using? Is it like alternating, or have you stuck to something? What are the tactics that you guys are up to?
Yeah, so historically, even going back to the days of Bruce Arena, it's been, typically it would have been a 4-2-3-1. That's what the season started out with. But then you had this kind of tactical switch. And it's kind of been that way. There's kind of been no indication it's going to change. But considering the results, seems like it's going to change at some point. But you do have the 3 center backs, have 2 kind of wing backs out wide, and then you have kind of 2 defensive midfielders and guys like Matt Polster and Alassane Youssef, and also you have 2 strikers up top. So it's really kind of that 3-5-2, that 3-4-2-1 formation that the Revolution have been playing.
And so you've been working it out from the outside. And I mean, as far as breaking it down through the center, if there's anybody that has a number 10 to do it other than us and Messi, you guys have Careless Hill who can be able to potentially do that. But other than Careless Hill, because everybody knows of him, give me a player that we can be able to look at as an X factor. Like, who other than Careless Hill can we look at and say, we got to watch out for that guy?
Yeah, I mean, it's probably not a sexy pick, but I think you got to look, recently with his play, he deserves a shout out. Brian Ceballos, center back, he's coming. He was kind of over in Europe on loan from Fortaleza in Brazil. And, when it came to the center backs the Revolution had, it was a bit concerning. Both didn't have MLS experience. Both spoke different languages. It was really interesting to see how it would come together, but he's a really impressive center back, very calm on the ball, has some impressive passing ability, and then also too just a great defender, able to go to ground, able to be physical, able to win balls off opponents, especially going up against Inter Miami team. You have to have some strong center backs, and like I've been saying, I think having an extra center back will be helpful for New England, as it attempts to stop Luis Suarez and Leo Messi. So really think that Brian Ceballos has been one of the bright spots. And, like you said, everyone thinks of Carlos Hill. He's single-handedly at points this season, put the team on his back and, been able to will them to victories. But, when you look at the defending, and especially in this next match, Brian Ceballos has really been impressive so far.
Well, what can you tell me about Noah Allen's doppelganger, Ilay Feingold? Because other than looking exactly like Noah Allen, he's the second on your team in goals scored with 3 goals scored. He got 3 assists. He's again second in goal contributions with 6, only second to Carles Hill, who has 14. What can you tell me about Ilay?
Yeah, I mean, the fact that he is, he's tied, close to the Golden Boot tells you how much New England is struggling for goals. But he definitely is an impressive outside back, primarily a right back, but kind of due to injuries, has played some left back. He's more of a player you look at who started last game because Eli Feingold is currently injured. Brandon Bai is more of, whip across in, try and provide some work there, kind of a decent defender. But Eli Feingold is really that outside back who can go in 1v1 situations, get by an opponent, but also two, I think, is a very impressive defender. So I think Eli Feingold provides more options and kind of more skill out on the wing. But he did miss the last match, and he is questionable for this upcoming match. Same with Thomas Shankalai. So it wouldn't surprise me, especially after the press conference today with Caleb Porter. Didn't seem as confident in them making a return. Wouldn't be surprised to see Brandon Bai again and for the Revolution to potentially be without Thomas Shankalai too.
So then what are your strengths in terms of like what this team brings to the table that we got to worry about? Because as far as weaknesses is concerned, your defense has been pretty good. So I don't know whether that counts as a weakness. So what are the strengths and weaknesses of New England?
Yeah, I mean, definitely still, I would say goal scoring is an issue. If Leo Campana comes into form, that can definitely change. But I would have to, if I had to pick a strength, it would probably be the back line, just because of how they started the season. Again, they have kind of regressed. But overall, I think when you look at it, they have been good. You have Brian Ceballos performing well. And overall, too, Ales Ivičić in net, I would probably say largely throughout the season, he's probably been one of their better players. So I would probably say right now, goalkeeping is the one thing that seems to be going well. Ivičić had a little bit of an off night against Portland, but it's really hard to blame him and his performance. So really it's him. He's a really great shot stopper, also great distributing the ball. There's just, some moments where you might want to wish for him to make a dive or wish for him to make an effort when he gets caught flat-footed. But widely, he's been a quality goalkeeper for the Revolution. He's made some impressive saves and has kept them in games. With the defense kind of struggling as it is, I'd probably pinpoint kind of the goalkeeping and shot-stopping ability of Ales Ivičić being kind of the strength at the moment.
So the last time Inter Miami played New England at New England was roughly a year ago, right? In 2024, Leo Messi played. Suarez came on in the second half, but it was a completely different lineup based upon what we're going to present tomorrow, right? We had Drake Callender in goal, who is now injured. Franco Negri played left back. He's no longer with the team. Nicolas Freire was in center back, no longer with the team. Ruiz is injured. Gressel's no longer with the team. Campana now plays for New England. And Robert Taylor was on the field as well to start the game. It's going to be a completely different lineup that you guys are going to be facing tomorrow. But the one thing that I think is going to be similar is going to be the attendance. The attendance for that last game was just over 65,600 fans. Is that what we're going to be expecting for tomorrow night's game? Or, knowing that Messi was on the plane today, Suarez was on the plane today, these guys are traveling, or are folks thinking that maybe they're going to be sitting out and so that they're not going to attend the game tomorrow?
It's going to be interesting because, especially with, Leo Messi and everybody traveling, it wouldn't surprise me if you get similar numbers, but, if I had to guess, maybe you're closer to 55, 60, just because it is a midweek matchup. And I mean, if you look at the prices of these tickets, it's crazy expensive. And, it sucks for kind of people just wanting to go see a game. I obviously, getting to see Leo Messi play is a privilege, but, it really sucks for the fans who can't afford to get that experience, who, if they were to go to a Revolution game a couple days, a week later, they would be spending 40, 50, sometimes even $20.
A quarter of the price.
Exactly.
Because, we talked about it before starting the show, Sam. I was telling you, and I'll tell the audience too here, my son's birthday is tomorrow. My intention was to go to New England to watch this game with him for his birthday tomorrow, considering that Campana was his first sort of favorite player. And a couple months back, the prices were outrageous. Now, the flights aren't that bad, but looking at the cheapest ticket, $122 gets you in the 300 section, a couple 200 sections here and there over in the corner. But for the most part, 122 is the lowest price. After that, it goes up into the 130s.
Yeah, it's crazy, and for the price that you'd be paying, you would normally get front row seat in probably a prime location. And obviously, for most MLS games, 300 section isn't open. You're not going to fill that out. There have been some occasions where the Revolution have kind of opened up extra sections and have been able to fill kind of the 200s. But yeah, it just kind of sucks to see kind of fans wanting to get to see Leo Messi play before he retires, or just your average soccer fan kind of be priced out of it. You're kind of seeing it, with U.S. men's national team too. But it's just absolutely chaos. I mean, I remember, covering it. We were headed to a press conference, and I swear we waited like 15 minutes, just sitting, waiting for security to wave us by, just because they were waiting for Messi to get off the field. And after the press conference, we were waiting for Messi, Suarez, and everybody to kind of walk into the bus before we could go into the Revolution locker room. I mean, it's a chaotic day. I'm getting ready for chaos tomorrow. It's a privilege. But, again, it sucks for kind of, that average, soccer fan just getting priced out of the experience.
Moving
now, go ahead, Solano.
Go ahead, Chris.
No. Go ahead, because I was going to ask him something else.
Yeah, I was going to pivot a little bit and ask about, because I saw the chat talking about Rodrigo De Paul and the potential of him coming here. And I wanted to ask Sam what he thought about the potential signing of Rodrigo De Paul to Inter Miami, and not just from a tactical standpoint, but also in terms of how it makes fans of other MLS teams feel, right? Like, do you think that it's going to change the perception of the league? Is Miami now going to become a hated team, or do you think that New England and other teams like Columbus and Cincinnati and Charlotte, maybe teams that are in smaller markets, not in Miami, who don't have Leo Messi already on their team, are going to start to spend and go out and try to get some other players to reinforce their teams, seeing what Inter Miami is doing?
Before you answer that, Sam, also, I mean, I imagine that would make you furious, because you have a rich owner in the New England Revolution who has a gajillion dollars in his wallet.
Yes, for sure. I mean, it is interesting. I mean, I would say we kind of, maybe some fans around MLS probably already hated you guys when you got Jordi Alba on a TAM deal. But, I think it is interesting because, would love to see a guy like Rodrigo De Paul play in MLS, whether it be Inter Miami or elsewhere. But I think, you kind of have seen different approaches. I mean, shout out to Charlotte going out and getting a player like Wilfred Zaha. But then again, you kind of have these experiences. Olivier Giroud didn't do well in LAFC. You had the Philadelphia Union reportedly just kind of having Thomas Muller come to their door and being like, hey, would you like to pay me a lot of money? And them being like, no, we'll pass. And then also, too, I think you have who else in LA? Marco Reus, it's kind of had an up and down. Revolution fans would love to see that investment. I mean, it's really tough. You're in Foxborough, not in a soccer-specific stadium. You're kind of, the little brother to the New England Patriots. And, saw some chats about the stadium. Right now, it's in kind of a weird kind of legal stage. Essentially, I believe they're supposed to be in mediation. They were supposed to work out kind of a community kind of benefits deal, which is essentially the Revolution, Crafts, and organization being like, all right, here's what we'll do in order for you to kind of sign off on this deal. Nothing has been reported of, any agreement there, and there has been past the deadline. So it seems like mediation and kind of some sort of agreement is on the horizon, but still far from a stadium. And I mean, if you have that stadium, imagine being able to tell players you're going to be right in Boston. It's always talked about the city of champions, such a great sporting legacy. You can sell them on that. It's really hard to sell them on playing at Gillette Stadium on turf. Yeah, and the weather. It's a little bit easier if you have your own stadium. So, I mean, it'll be interesting to see, if De Paul does end up going to Miami. Would not surprise me if it did happen. But we definitely Revolution fans are wishing Carlos Gil, he might have played, English Premier League and, in La Liga, but he ain't no Rodrigo de Paul. We kind of Revolution fans want to see that splashy shining. And I mean, Robert Kraft can spend money on the Pats, but he doesn't necessarily like to spend it on a New England Revolution.
Now, before I ask you how Inter Miami can be able to win, I just want to bring something up here because I was looking at the sort of the goals for the team. And I remember kind of thinking about this in earlier weeks, especially since Campana went down, right? I automatically thought that Campana was going to be one of the lead goal scorers on the team. Obviously, he gets injured. That's not the case. But you guys have had contribution from Urruti, from Chancalay, Langoni. I mean, they've played collectively that striker position, you know, from time to time. Ganago. I remember him playing as well. He's gotten some contributions as well. He's got a goal. Like, usually you would like that extra contribution from other players. Is it the fact that it just hasn't been consistency other than Carlos Hill?
Yeah, I think you nailed it. It's just the fact that due to injuries, I mean, just when a player seems to get going, they end up getting injured, and you're not able to build that kind of relationship or chemistry with someone like Leo Campana. So it's really interesting to kind of, you know, again, you'd love to see kind of that contribution from multiple players. But, you know, Maxi Urruti, he's not the type of player who can go 90 minutes, really. So you're most likely getting him off the bench. And then that leaves you with the likes of Langoni, Chancalay, and, you know, when healthy, you know, for Chancalay and Ganago, when they're both healthy, kind of competing for those spots. So you have been able to get some. It just hasn't been consistent. The only thing that's been consistent is that whenever the team has been lacking, Carlos Hill has been able to kind of, you know, create something out of thin air. But besides that, you're kind of waiting to see who's going to step up, and we are halfway through the season. Haven't really gotten anyone else there.
Sounds like you guys have your own version of Messi light with Carles Hill over there, but unfortunately he doesn't have enough magic like Messi has had over the last few weeks, because he's really gotten himself back into the MVP conversation with his performances prior to the Club World Cup, and then now with his performance against Montreal. So, but it is nice to know that you guys do have some player to look forward to, you know, since, you know, we basically ripped you off by selling you Campana.
Hey, I mean, if you would have told me that Leo Campana would have fewer goals than Giacomo Dragoni, who was formerly with the Revs, I would say you are absolutely insane. But here we are. You know, it just seems whenever a striker comes to England, they just forget how to play soccer. But, you know, if at least we get, I don't even know. I'm trying to come up with something. I can't. But it just seems like whenever a striker comes here, they just forget how to score a goal.
So let's say you're a degenerate gambler, Sam, and you put the house on Inter Miami winning, okay? But you don't feel too comfortable about your bet. So you walk over, you have this unlimited access to Javier Mascherano, and you lean over to his ear, and you got to let him know exactly how to beat New England. What are you whispering to his ear?
I think you got to tell him to just wait for the right moment to strike on the counter, to simply just let the Revolution pass the ball horizontally. That is something that they absolutely love to do. But I think really it just comes down to just waiting for that right moment. When you have players like Leo Messi, Luis Suarez, Sergio Busquets, it's just waiting for the right moment. I mean, even if it's just as simple as, you know, seeing something coming off of, you know, a throw-in or a corner, it just seems like this match is prime for, you know, Inter Miami to put up a decent number in terms of goals. And I really think it just comes down to waiting to strike on the counter. You know, when the Revolution maybe feel they have some confidence, maybe get a player or two forward that they would have liked to have back, and then just, you know, having someone like Sergio Busquets just launch a pass forward to Leo Messi, and he just, you know, does what he does. So I think if they're able to just, you know, take the chances on the counter, maybe be a little bit patient in terms of not committing and maybe not getting too frustrated, they should definitely walk away with 3 points.
So let's get to predictions then, Sam. I mean, you're the guest, so we'll let you
Okay.
go ahead and give your prediction. Right, Inter Miami plays New England tomorrow away in Foxborough at 7:30. So, what do you think is going to be the end score?
I think this is kind, but everyone else might be like, "Oh my God, what are you saying, Sam?" Probably going to be 3-1 Inter Miami. I just think that with how the Revolution have been playing, don't have a lot of confidence. They've struggled at home. Inter Miami is Inter Miami. I think you can probably book in, a Leo goal, whether it's off the bench or he starts. I just think, too much talent, and I think this Revolution team is really kind of struggling at the moment. I think, I don't know if it will be kind of that first or second minute like it was with Thomas Shankali, but I think the Revolution will be able to go probably Carlos Heel. But I think Inter Miami should walk away with 3 points, and the hot seat will grow a bit hotter for Caleb Porter as head coach.
What about you, Solana? What do you think? Well, give me a prediction.
I mean, while Sam was talking there, he convinced me heavily, especially when he said, what he would whisper into Mascherano's ear. That was very sexy. I went ahead and I put in my bet, Chris. I put in my bet, Inter Miami, Leo Messi to score. Inter Miami was plus 140, plus Leo Messi to score a goal got me to plus 280. So I put my bet down. That is it. I think they're also going to win 3-1. Unfortunately, we always say whatever Inter Miami score is going to be, and at least one, Chris, because our defense can't seem to hold a clean sheet for their life. But who knows? Maybe against New England tomorrow, who lacks and whose weakness is scoring goals, maybe we will be able to keep a clean sheet. But I'm going to take the safe road out, and I'm going to say 3-1.
And it's funny here. V Vega is saying I predict 4-4. Dennis Lopez is blown away by that. 4-1 Miami win by Mr. Krabs. And I'm calling the same thing here. I think it's going to be 4-1. I wanted to go 4-2 because I feel like Campana is guaranteed a goal. I don't know why. I just feel like he is, and maybe that's just my heart speaking. But I feel like it's look, we have a lemon pana brace. So I guess, just talking about the lemon that we sold you guys. 3-1 for Amanda too. So Nick Smith is predicting 3-2. I'm going to go with 4-1. And I feel comfortable with that. And you're right, Solana. It's like what we mentioned last week when we did the preview. Unfortunately, we have to predict one goal against because we're just not walking away with clean sheets. That's brutal.
And Solana, if
Now,
you hit
I
that
do
bet,
have-
feel free. Oh.
Yeah, go ahead, Sam.
No, I was gonna say, Solana,
No,
if you
go
hit
ahead,
that
Sam.
bet,
Go ahead, Sam.
feel free to get back to me. If you don't hit that bet, forget that I exist.
Absolutely. I'll sell you a portion of my winnings. No problem.
I do have a couple facts that I want to mention, but I want I want you to be able to give your information now, Sam. Thank you for joining us. If you could let everybody know where they can find you before I start giving dumb facts, and then we lose half the audience.
Oh, nah, I'm excited for these fun facts. But yeah, you can find me, the website, www.theblazingmusket.com. You can find us on all social media platforms, Instagram or what have you. You can find me, on all social media. Just kind of search up Sam Minton. But if you really want to, be a big help, just go and become, we have 3 subscriber tiers for the Blazing Musket. If for some reason Inter Miami fans want to pay money for New England soccer coverage, you can do that as well. But if you just want to sign up to be a subscriber of the Blazing Musket, greatly appreciate it.
Now, Solana, you mentioned that fact about the snoring. It's snoring husbands. That's what I read here. It's not just people. It's snoring husbands.
I've got more facts that are just going to make people go absolutely wild.
Well, but somebody mentioned in the chat. Oh, which by the way, there was a question here by Vice Rosa, and I was going to ask the same question if I would have gone to the game. Says, I want to ask Sam because me and my family are going to Gillette Stadium. Where in the stadium do the Revs fans wait to get autographs? Or is there a space for that?
There indeed is. Again, security is probably going to be a little bit different, a little bit stricter. But usually I believe it's around parking lot 5, parking lot 6. It's essentially you're closer to the highway side, to the train station side. But if you're looking for the parking lot specifically, I believe it is, parking lot 5 or 6. It's kind of, tucked away in a tunnel. It's where all the kind of the Revolution players walk out after games. But you can be able to get autographs. Everybody, as long as usually if it's a loss, players are quick to get out. So you're definitely able to get autographs. If they win, sometimes players stay a little bit longer. But yeah, there should be a chance for you to get autographs, and hopefully you are able to.
Yeah. So hit me with a fun fact, Solana, and then I'll hit another one. We'll just bounce back like 2 or 3 fun facts before we get the hell out of here.
All right. Did you all know that it's technically illegal to put tomatoes in clam chowder in Massachusetts?
That wouldn't surprise me, actually. That's actually valid, I think, because I think when you look at it, New York clam, or I don't know if I'm thinking of lobster bisque or clam chowder.
Well, Manhattan clam chowder is tomato sauce based, whereas New England clam chowder is white. It's more.
It's the correct way. It's the correct way.
Well, some New Yorkers might think the other way.
Yeah. I have another thing here. It says dueling with a family member. Apparently, as long as you duel with a family member that you have a problem with before 8 p.m., it's completely legal. Dueling, like literal dueling.
Wish I knew this fact. Wow. These are amazing
I mean, well, first
facts.
of all, these are facts that we're finding because obviously, New England, right? Massachusetts was like one of the first founded states. So like, obviously this was like cooked all before 1776 or 1776 forward. So at this point, I mean, we're finding stuff here where, I mean, it's like the Great Pie Prohibition.
I mean, literally, did you know that for 2 decades it was illegal to celebrate Christmas in Boston? I mean, what are those folks thinking?
No, that's insane. That's insane. I have some homework for you guys. If you want to look up the 5th longest word in the world, it is a lake in Massachusetts.
I've got it right here. It's chargo go ga ga ma ga cha ga go go cha ba ga ma mug, and it's in Webster. There you go.
Is that your final word, Solana?
Probably not. I probably botched it about 3 or 4 times.
All right. Any last word before we head out, Solana?
No, man. It's been a blast. Thanks for joining us, Sam. Thank you to everybody in the chat for joining. Like always, it's a blast. Honestly, maybe we'll make this a Tuesday thing, a Solana and Chris Tuesday thing. We'll see going forward.
And Xavier is saying, fun fact: Vermont Green will build their own stadium before Kraft opens up his wallet to build the Revolution one.
I mean, Xavier is probably correct.
And then Batter Florida says fuck Boston. And
I mean, I gotta say that you got the Stanley Cup photo. I'm still upset about Brad Marchand going to the Florida Panthers. That really hurt.
And re-signing with the Panthers. I mean,
that hurt me even more.
Bill Zito pulled it off. He brought them all back.
Well, guys, it was a pleasure, and thank you, Sam, so much for coming on the show with us to preview the New England Revolution. It's highly appreciated. And for those of you listening on audio, thank you guys so much for hanging out. Please put 5 stars, and thank you guys in the chat for hanging out and just chilling with us. Daniel Granada is saying, double check Chris's facts. He's infamous for throwing out fake facts. You know what? Fuck Danny. Fuck that guy.
He's supposed to be on vacation. What's he doing?
This guy, what are you doing here?
Great vacation. Watching us. Jeez.
Hell of a boss. I mean, what a micromanager. What a micromanaging boss that he has the day off and he's still checking up on his workers. I mean, come on, Danny, take the day off.
People are laughing at you.
Hang out with your fam.
So, guys, thank you for hanging out in the chat. You guys are the best part of the show. This wouldn't be as fun if you guys weren't involved. And we'll be here tomorrow to go ahead and do the post game show. Hopefully, New England Revolution get their asses kicked and Campana scores a goal. That would make me and my son very happy, but we still win. So until the next one, everybody, have a good one.